when I say that we have had some of the worst tournament games that I've been able to remember in recent time, I'm not kidding today. And so we're gonna watch some of them. Let's go watch some good games. Or at least one good game. Wow, I was gonna say, I don't know what we constitute a blank page. I don't know what we constitute this game, but this was a good game. Really funny ending on it too. But on these first two games, nothing but depression and sadness. But you know, I have a cure for that. And the cure is you subscribing. We're gonna hit 10K by the end of the year. I want everyone watching right now to go down and subscribe, so you too can be part of that movement. You get daily uploads. I think our content over here is pretty good too. So this first battle, they're all from NUCL, current team tournament we got going on. And we have ZS versus Mr. Danny YSB, aka the Step Bro, aka Help Me Out from the Windowsill brother. And we have two very interesting teams. Now you'll recognize his team, because Joey and I got cooked by this stupid Scarf Terrablast Ice Scyther. And ZS has just, I want to say standard HO. The Masquerain isn't too standard, but at the end of the day, it's like a Webs HO, and you've got potential spikes on Frostless as well to facilitate easier sweeping for your Oricorio, your Salazzle, etc., etc. And one of the big issues that we're going to see for Danny from lead is you load up into double ice without a single ice resist without Terra. Now, I mean, you got things like Alt usually runs Terra Steel, right? Flygon can be Terra Steel. Well, I even talked about it. The one-time Terra Ice is good defensively, you have it on the Scyther. But just from immediate preview, literally either of these two mons is annoying. Now, in theory, Frostlass actually isn't that annoying. Most commonly in HO, you see a Sash set with like Icy Wind and max switch attack doesn't matter. This is Life Orb with Poltergeist, and he wins a speed tie and kills an SP on turn 1. So that's pretty good. And then we see a switch into Masquerain, and now you just get your webs, and you don't really care. So that was a very funny exchange. I think the webs is kind of whatever, but it does help your Glast versus some of these mons, mostly versus like Umbreon. Really, that's the only one. Just Glast will always outspeed the Umbreon. The Toxic Danny gets on the Masquerain. I do think that was kind of nice, as we see Meloetta come out, and a very timely crit coming on up for you. Little Frostless comes out and bop, bop, bop. This one being Life Orb could have given Danny an absolute headache. So him getting a critical hit there, not having to think anymore about the Frostlass is quite nice. And we also see here the power of Meloetta to sit in front of this Oricorio, and why I don't view Oricorio Sensu too highly. Yeah, it tries in vain to boost, and he gets the 2 boosts, and now he's gonna roost repeatedly. And again. And again. And again. And again. And unfortunately, it's not mattered one bit. Oh, yeah, and again, by the way. Just in case there was any confusion, we had one more. As we see, the Meloetta just does too much, and then you air slash. I'm Assault Vest, you did nothing. I just love the, 21? Yeah, that's what happened. So, Sensu just walled with ease. Now the big Glastrier comes out, and that's, of course, a huge threat, because it's red card forces in the ult. And it kills it. And what's funny, too, about that turn, since the ult is Terra Steel, or could be, I literally could check the team pace. Danny is on my team, but I'm not going to. Since the ult could have been Terra Steel, right, you could have maybe gone for a Terra and Will-O-Wisp the Glast. And that could have been nice. No, instead you get red carded. Get absolutely blasted. Beautiful turn. And then we get a beautiful dodge, too, with our CB Flygon. This is pretty bad for ZS. Because now, of course, you have to go Masquerain. You would have gotten 2-shot. Make a player I don't really love from Danny's. He goes for another Outrage. And it's okay still as a play because the Glast comes back out. And, like, Outrage would have done enough to put it in range of, say, Scyther or Meloetta. But since you missed, now it's not in range. You have to go for his awkward U-turn, sack your Meloetta, which was still really, really good here, too, because it checked the Salazzle. And it's forcing him into this turn at the end where he goes for Dual Wing Beat, misses, because he's trying to bait ZS into thinking he can go Salazzle next. But he can't. And so, yeah, the game's over. Now, I think maybe a little bit better of a play, me personally. One that maybe had a little bit less risk, and I get, I mean, at the end of the day, Danny got some luck, ZS got some luck, but Mons balances out. I think maybe what I would have done versus the Glast, maybe sack Umbreon I don't think it's that useful. But maybe you sack the Umbreon. Or no, you don't even have to sack the Umbreon. But on the turn where Masquerain comes in and you outrage and you get confused, I would have just gone Umbreon then. And I think you're in a better spot. Because there's not really a lot that ZS has. I don't think he has to go like Lazzle there, which is annoying, but I don't think Lazzle is ever beating you. I mean, it's still going to come down to like, do you hit a dual wing beat with the Scyther? But I feel a little bit better about that, right? And then the Glass is still at the 40% spot, but okay, you at least prevent it from coming in again right that instant. You still have Flygon for later. That Outrage is really, really scary because none of these Mons are faster than you and one-shot. So, I mean, it's easy for me to talk about that from the replay, and of course when I'm spectating, maybe that would have minimized the amount of luck you needed from there. Anyhow, very funny game, very, very funny game, and we go immediately into another. Boof versus Pokeslice. We didn't really know what we wanted to use this week. And so we loaded Grassy Terrain because it's good. Grassy Terrain is a nice hyper offense style. A lot of people recently have been saying they think Oricorio Pom Pom might be a little bit broken, maybe still. We're not going to ban it, of course, because we have tier shifts in 3 days. There's no reason to take action on a mod right now, you know? But it is one that's gotten a bit of ire from a lot of players lately. And part of it's for Grassy Terrain. You get the defense boost from Grassy Seed, and it makes this mon even more annoying to kill. Because now you got bulk on each side. It's not like you can just say, okay, well, at least my physical attack will always do a lot. No, not guaranteed. And then Boof has... I think they even said they really just wanted to use like more Emboar and Meloetta, so they brought a team with Emboar and Meloetta this week, which I can respect. I think the Emboar team I passed AIM is pretty similar to this one. I'd have to check the builder, and I don't have it open right now, but it's something similar where it was just keys for spikes, and then I said, alright, here's my 5 mons. Tatsugiri as well, from Boof's end, which is really funny, because I think Tatsugiri is terrible. I think there's been a lot of overhyping of this mon lately, which feels weird to say, right? I don't think too many of y'all would recognize Tatsugiri as a mon getting any hype, but I have seen some people on the VR update rating it semi-highly. I just think the mon isn't very good. I don't think as a spinner it's very appealing, and I don't think as a plot user it's too appealing either. But in this matchup, it's quite good. Because the water resist is a Thwackey, or like maybe, you know, Dawn Terras, or maybe Glowburst Terra Water, and even then you just get Dracoid in the head and die. So I mean, in this particular matchup, it's quite scary. Natatsu is really, really impactful, as is the Meloetta, because, again, you look at a team here, the normal resist to, you know, if this is like Specs Meloetta, for example, it's a Rhydon. So, you know, Terra Blast can do a lot, and you could always Terra with Meloetta. You still got the stab on Terra Blast. And Psychic also, who's switching in? Glowbro? Uxie doesn't really want to have to do that, because it's going to take so much on that initial turn. Boosting past it's probably going to be kind of hard, and Boof does have some responses that they can make to the Uxie coming out, so it's not even like you just get like a clean setup there either. Anyhow, let's watch how the game went. So Thwacky's led with, Meloetta's the lead from Boof, and we do see a good turn from Slice turn 1, getting in the Dawn on the Terra Blast. I think I would have just Psychicked, because like, do you care about Uxie coming in there? I don't know if you do, but sure. As Tatsu now comes out, good rocks from Slice. I really wanted him to Stone Edge here. Unfortunately, we switched. And yeah, so we lost because the Tatsugiri plotted, and now we lose. That crit kind of sucks because there was a damage roll to live, but it was favored for Boof to get the KO. Now this sucks a lot. The Gunk Shot miss here is actually like, that's the hacks where you get a little bit sad by, because, I don't love to pause this too much, but I will to explain real quick. Getting Gunk Shot damage on this, it doesn't kill, to my knowledge. I don't think you one-shot. But you would put in range at least a Grassy Glide. And now instead we have to burn our Terra Water here to live a Surf. So we would have been able to preserve our Terra for one of Uxie or Oricorio. Now we have to use it on Dawn, and we also now don't even have a normal resist. So we see that fake-ass Scald come through from the Meloetta. KO's our Rhydon. Now the Pom Pom comes out, because I mean this is... We're faster at least, so we can try Quivering. The problem is, as you see, that is a... Not a Uxie, god. That is a Meloetta. That is a strong mon. And so we're kind of dealing with the same sequence that ZS dealt with from the AV Meloetta. Boof, though, is much less content to keep spamming an attack because he's going for a special attack. He goes to the Emboar, Terra Dragons it, and just pops the Oricorio. And now, again, we don't have a Terra on anything. Thwackey I mean, I don't know. It's not like you would burn Terra with this, but Grassy Glide not going to kill the Emboar. Sack the Thwack there. And can Yuxi 4v1? The answer may shock you, but when there's a Meloetta that is going to lock in a Terra Blast here and do this much on the initial hit, no, you cannot win. You cannot. So we see the Terra Blast just do way too much. Slice, and again, this, just the most depressing move ever. Draining Kiss when you don't Terra Fairy. It genuinely is such a laughable move. 12%, man. Like, that's why I hate Yuxi. I still think it's a good mon, because terrain is good, and so, naturally, you know, you use the good team style, you can make a normally kind of trashy mon pretty decent. But wow, you need Terra. Like, it is genuinely despicable how bad it can get without Terra. Because Yuxi's got like what, base like 75, 70 special attack or something? You don't really do damage without boosts in Terra, so yeah, you see Slice here, he's only able to get that one because you take too much damage and do no damage back. So now we get a good game for once. We get past the 2 meme games. I just keep pausing. Something weird feeling in the back of my mouth. But now we get a good game. Skierdude and Lilo, 2 of the people that really came into prominence, I'd say, in Indie within Gen 8, carried on their happy-go-lucky battling into Gen 9. And both teams commit one sin. I'll give you a few seconds. What do you think I dislike about both these teams? 3, 2, 1. Well, if you said there's nothing to check a Dragalge, you were correct. I mean, it's not that simple, right? Each team actually has counterplay to Dragalge. But in terms of defensive counterplay, not really much on either side without, like, a Terra. Dragalge just obliterates these teams from preview. If I'm facing off against this build, I'm leading my Dragalge, turn 1. And I am clicking Sludge Bomb, and I'm getting lots of damage on something. Like, technically, Lilo can pivot with the Dodun a little bit, but they're always going to need to make the right read on Draco for this and being able to roost. And I'm not too convinced that what ends up revealed as a CM to Dunsparce takes a Draco from Dragalge all too well. Otherwise, I like the teams. They're very cool. Don't love the idea of Sylveon plus Screamtail. I think you probably... I don't know what you do here with this slot. A guy like me would swap... Like, obviously, they're not going to both be Wish, so we could assume one of these is, like, setup of some kind. But... Or even, like, Spec Sylveon Wish of those could work, too. But, yeah. Otherwise, things we take from Notem Preview. Both have a very similar identity on the teams, where it's just Hazard Stack with an Overquill. We've seen a lot of Spikes Overquill lately. Definitely not even a sleeper pick anymore, just a very understood to be good pick. But I really like, from Skierdude's angle, this Thundurus. If it's set up at least, which it could be on this team. You've got plenty of supportive pivot otherwise. So Thundurus with setup is actually pretty good, especially the Terra Steel set we've talked about, with just Flash Cannon, Thunderbolt, and then Focus Blast. Does a lot of good stuff this game. You want to get rid of the Flygon before you ever try to set up, because otherwise it's just going to Earthquake you if it's Scarf, and then you're sad. But that's not too much to ask for. You can also always just try and set up as the Gon switches in, and it beat it that way, so it's pretty good. Even Arcanine here, I actually do like from Skier too, and they have checks on Lilo's side, but not a bad mon. The Fire Resist is a Flygon, even though they have like potential, not even potential, it's always Intimidate, Overquill. They have Overquill and like maybe a Terra Avalugg, but and Scream. So like, yeah, they have a lot of switches, but again, I still like it. Get your hazards up, get your knocks so they don't have boots, etc. So nice little double Rocks lead, very honorable start to this battle as the Sylveon comes out, which is a massive threat as we see it take Rocks Chip, not get lefties. We know it's Specs then, because his Arcanine goes out, he's 41, my god. A guy like me would have Terra Grounded immediately, by the way, and been instantly punished, because Skier does Flare Blitz. So that would have been funny. The Overquill comes in now, and this is just going to be a free Barb Barrage from Lilo. I mean, if Skierdude were to go to his Overquill, then you can just trade your Spikes, and you're both pretty happy with that. Instead, Barb Barrage, Fissure Poison. Now we go to Screamtail, and a Screamtail here is going to get to just Wish Pass to whatever. The special defense drop here is a little unfortunate, though, because otherwise he could have gotten maybe a little bit of damage off with a Psychic Noise. But it is what it is. is still protected. And here you do see the Psychic Noise come out versus the Arcanine, though. Very nicely denying this Morning Sun. And now we keep the Arcanine nice and low. Potentially good for Sylveon, because that is the only resistance to Fairy, and is not a particularly good one either. So that Sylveon has opened up quite a bit. Now here we see the very happy Overqwil Mirror. They're both just going to set spikes if they want. I'm also going to do this just because since we've got spikes, I want to make sure they actually show. But we're going to see a spike from each of them as we get back to this Palace and Screamtail sequence. Early bit of this battle's kind of uneventful, so I might skip through turns a little bit. Because, like, we get the Encore Lock here as another Sands comes out. And the Overqwil comes back out now because, again, well, what's this Mon going to do? It has to Wish here. So you can get your spike. This is kind of just how you force spikes to go up in these sorts of games, where there is a spinner. You just look for your free entry points, and the lug is gonna, I'm not gonna say struggle to spin, because you can Ice Spinner the Palossand and do quite a nice amount, but it's not the easiest spin to get off either, especially considering this could be Terra Ghost too. We do see nice little Ice Spinner here. Now we see a play I don't really love from Lilo here, is where he Earthquakes. I know the logic was to try and deny the Arcanine entry for a Morning Sun, but I feel like you could still play against it just fine from there. And Palossand will die to Hazards just about the next turn it comes in anyway. So, like, I don't know, man. I guess the part about it dying to Hazards next time it comes in doesn't even really matter, though, does it? Anyhow, we see a Calm Mind rattled to Dunsparce. Shoutouts early SV Inu. Absolute demonic mon. Boomburst does barely over half, though. Doesn't matter. Dunsparce able to pick up a KO here. And Nin revealing when Namiko comes out. Terra Ghost. Not to be immune, of course, to CC, but instead to drop your weakness to it. That way you eat up the CC, one shot back with the Shadow Ball. And Dunsparce picked off two really annoying mons. Now if you get a spin, if you're Lilo, you are winning the Spikes War. And Migo being gone is just good because you did outsped your entire team bar a Flygon, so that's always appreciated. And we see Skier, U-turn there, I guess just not wanting to spin because they don't want to risk taking more damage with their Serena. Of course, because you have 4 Mons left, you don't want to lose any of them. The spin doesn't even do that much, right? You've got Boots on Arcanine, Thundurus would be immune anyway. Palossand, you just live with it. But then we see a Scorching Sands crate hit that Overqwil. Maybe it mattered, maybe it didn't. Sylveon will now get back in. He sacks the Serena because Arcanine viewed a little bit better. And it's not even a sack because you eat the H-Voice up very, very nicely. So that's good. And we see a U-turn here because, again, Skier playing it like he needs to keep the Hazards up. And I do kind of agree. I think Hazards, like, when you're down, it's nice to keep whatever little advantage you have. And yeah, I mean, Palossand defensively isn't necessarily the biggest thing here. Plus, it was a pretty safe turn too because this needed to recover back up. You don't want to risk Arcanine running you down, and having that Avalugg near full to where, well, I'm gonna say Katera, but just having it near full to where it could still like live a Flare Blitz in a pinch if it needs is nice. So there's that. E-Speed, pop the Screamtail, and out a Flygon comes out. And the only way it's gonna revenge kill the Serenas with a Dragon Claw. You always Dragon Claw there too, just because you don't want to give a Thundurus a free turn. Unfortunately for Lilo, he gave Thundurus a free turn, and it Terra Steel Nasty Plotted. Now you may think it's okay, but then you're Agility'd on, and is it okay? As that EQ did nothing, and now we get to see the true Terra Steel Thundurus, where we'll now outspeed this Scarf Flygon. One shot it with Flash Cannon. That's just game. Y'all probably thought Lilo was gonna grind it out into a win eventually. No, just a Thundurus moment. Just a Thundurus moment. This mon is very funny. Very funny Pokemon. Yeah, we said for preview, Thundurus looks scary with Nasty Plot. I mean, this team is just so slow that Thundurus does have a decent amount of room to do stuff, even if it's not even boosting. Like, throwing off Thunderbolts is still pretty effective. Is what, the Flygon forced in? And then what's gonna do? Dragon Claw me? Okay. Yeah, last game I wanted to cover today. Sky Solo, aka the Strap, aka Strap-on Solo, aka our SV4 slot versus TR Acid, who brought an exotic-looking Sun team, pretty standard, except the Tatsu. Once again, why are we using this terrible Pokemon? On Sun, no less. Have some shame, sir. But it makes sense when you consider double removal and, well, removal plus prevention for the Zard. Sky Solo brought a little balance team. The funny thing about this balance team, though, is there's a Lycanroc. And based on how this turn 1 goes, I think Tyr thought that the Lycanroc was still going to be Sash Rocks. Now you tell me, how many times have you seriously considered on an Umbreon Wish balance team putting Sash Rocks Lycan? Some of you might say you've considered it a few times, because I've seen a lot of it on ladder. The reason that's not good is because the idea of Sash leads Lycan is to set hazards very early, and then to just keep them up basically through brute offensive, just hard offensive momentum. You get that rock early, you try and just get whatever chip you can, break a Sash here or there if there is anything on the opponent's team that's going to be sashed. But you're not looking to grind the game out. This is a team looking to maybe take an extra, 10, 20, 30 turns to win compared to HO. So anyhow, let's get to the lead. There's a Flygon led with versus the Ninetales. And then the rocks go up, and as you can see in chat, this is why I showed the chat, by the way, because it's always got some funny stuff here. What the like, he acts like he's shocked. Like, why are you shocked that there were rocks here? Hello? I thought it was really funny, though. We see the Espeon have eject button. I thought that was a really cool tech. Because normally when I've run Espeon on Sun, I've just done, like, boots with Morning Sun. So that's a pretty cool idea. Mingo, though, now comes in on the U-turn after a growth. Which, yeah, you look at this team. Where's the resist? So now Zard's forced out. Now this does reveal Zard is going to be Scarf. So Flygon's the sack because it's our fire resist. And as you see, a Scarf Charizard just about one-shot our Flygon. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now Lycanroc can come in. And I like it as you look too here. This is a very strong mon. We got a Celorock to pick off weakened threats even. Like if this Plume is ever too big of a deal. Maybe we're able to get a little chip and then pick it off. But Bonnet goes for Crunch there as Serena comes out. Now it's in a Celorock range. Except you don't even have to care because we have a Rocky Helmet Glowbro. GG, boys! The Glowbro, tactical damage taken. Tatsu comes out here. And, I mean, this is another game where a Nasty Plot Tatsugiri does look a little scary, only from a wall-breaking stance. But, thankfully, we immediately poison with a Sludge Bomb, so it doesn't actually matter one bit. I say it looks a little scary from a wall-breaking stance. There is an Umbreon here, but if it's Terra Fairy Tatsu, which is what they used to always run, Umbreon could poison you with Toxic, yeah, but it's not actually, like, beating you with foul play down, you know? And it has to risk maybe getting rolled by you spamming plots. Little bit nasty long term. We get a Toxic off on this Ninetales though. That was very appreciated. It is now Tyr's gonna go into the Plumer. Gonna look to try and do something with Vileplume. Once again though, Mr. Solo predicting a growth gets Mingo in, and Tyr very funnily thinks that this spawn can stand up to the Migo. Oh. I'm wrong. That happens later. Nice U-turn, though. The Plume comes back out. Goes for a Weather Ball, because you don't have to predict anything at this point. Mingo cleans. So sack that. Here we see, he thinks this Terra matters. Get out of here. That's a friend, man. That's an amigo. So Flamigo picks off the Plume. No, you got lost. It's always fun when the... I always love seeing games between friends, because the chat banter's usually pretty peak. But yeah, this was just some games that we had from... I think this is week 4 of SCL. We got one more week after the rest for the regular season. I'll probably cover more games in the playoffs. I've just not been covering regular season stuff because I'm gonna be honest, man. Don't really care. Wait till the games have a little bit more behind them. Covered all the stuff in SCL because I thought SCL games, they all kind of feel important because it's a major Smogon tournament. It's just a little team tour for sub-forum tour that we do for fun. So, I'll cover games when I find ones that are funny. And I thought this week we particularly had some funny ones, so I wanted to talk about them. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Stop using Tatsugiri, this mon is garbage. Keep using Meloetta, this mon's incredible. I will see you on tomorrow with another video. Peace.